Hello everyone, and welcome back to another trip report. I'm here at Myrtle Beach International Airport, where I'm going to be flying American back to LEX via Charlotte. MYR is an airport I've had the chance to spot at a couple of different times, but this will be my first time flying through it, and I am very excited. Security was very quick. Within 5 minutes of arriving at the airport, I was already through to the main terminal area, where I was met with a great selection of different shops and restaurants. As you can see right there, we have a Chick-fil-A and a Subway. A little further back, there was a Starbucks, as well as a number of other different options, which is really great considering the size of this airport. Because I arrived at the airport very early, my gate was actually being occupied by a different flight. This CRJ-900 was getting ready to head out to Philadelphia. So while I waited, I went ahead and grabbed some dinner and watched planes for a little while. MYR has a ton of large windows, which make plane spotting out on the ramp very easy. Before long, though, my aircraft arrived. N821AW would be the Airbus A319 taking me over to Charlotte today. American are actually the world's largest operator of the Airbus A319, as well as the larger A321 variant, and these aircraft provide the vital connectivity that American Airlines needs in their short-haul fleet. And as soon as the previous passengers were unloaded, it was already time to board. Boarding was very simple, and American Airlines boards in groups of 7 to 9, depending on the size of the aircraft. Today, I was in the final group, as I booked my ticket for as cheap as I possibly could. The cabin was nice and seemed like it had been redone very recently with this neat red trim across all of the seats, which I was a huge fan of. I think it looks really nice. Before long, though, I found my seat for today, an economy window seat. The seat is relatively simple, but does get the job done, featuring things like a universal power outlet, a seat back pocket, a very basic tray table that just does not unfold into two pieces, as well as a top pocket for the seat back literature and safety card. Overall, this seat is relatively comfortable and is not bad considering the fact that these aircraft do fly flights as long as 5 or 6 hours. And after a surprise departure by an Omega Tanker 707, which was insanely cool to see, it was time to begin our pushback and taxi out to the runway.
What music is that I hear? Something to try and make you feel at home.
Today's flight would certainly not be a long one, as by the time we reached our relatively low cruising altitude, we were only able to stay there for a couple of minutes before we were already starting to descend. That being said, it was an enjoyable flight, and because it took place during golden hour, the views were absolutely gorgeous. That said, almost as soon as this flight began, it was already time to begin our descent and landing into Charlotte. And after waiting about 15 minutes on the ramp for our gate to free up, here we are at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. CLT is one of my favorite airports in the world because of its design, not because of its actual functionality. As much as I love CLT, it definitely suffers from overcrowding, as it feels like the concourses during rush hour are constantly just totally full and you're just pushing through crowds of people to get to your gate. So I would definitely recommend leaving some time for a longer connection if you are connecting through CLT. My next flight would be departing from the E concourse, which is definitely one of the most interesting concourses here at Charlotte because you're actually on ground level with all of the aircraft. This is because the E concourse is where most of the regional flights depart from, so it makes it a little easier to connect up to CRJs and ERJ-145s when you're on the same level as them. That said, despite the fact that this concourse seems to be in a constant state of renovation, it is still quite nice, featuring a couple of different shops and restaurants and plenty of areas to sit. And after a little bit of a wait, here's my aircraft. N614NN, a 2020 built CRJ-900 operated by PSA, arriving in late from Panama City, Florida. Because we were now at risk of our pilots timing out, the gate crew went very fast in boarding us, and everyone was able to get on board within the next 15 minutes, which was awesome. Once on board, I found my seat, which was relatively nice, especially for a regional jet. These newer CRJ interiors I am definitely a fan of, as the legroom was actually pretty good. The seats were pretty comfortable and even featured an adjustable headrest, which is definitely not very common on an aircraft of this size. Before long, though, it was already time to depart. Unfortunately, the video for these departures was not great because the crew left the mood lighting on during the departure, so the entire video has a blue hue, so I apologize about that, but hopefully you still enjoy this takeoff. Once we were in the air, the flight attendants announced they would be doing a snack and drink service, which is definitely nice to see, although the only thing that was actually passed out was the snacks, as after that, the turbulence got kind of bad and they were unable to finish the service, so that's definitely unfortunate, but that is certainly no fault of the airline, that's just a safety concern. This flight went by relatively quickly as well, and before long, we were already ready to descend into Lexington. And with that, I'd like to welcome you to Lexington Bluegrass Airport. I had a great time flying on American today for the first time since 2021, and I will definitely be looking to fly them again in the near future, hopefully on a larger aircraft next time. With that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and if you have time, leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts. So, with that, I hope you guys have an absolutely incredible rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.